Hey, all, welcome to my channel. Uh, I don't think there's much to say about the Mets. The fact that they only took two games out of the series from the Pirates, and the fact that they only took two games out of the Nationals as well too in the beginning of July, it only proves otherwise that the Mets are should be sellers, not buyers. And there's been cases where even some of the players, like Nimmo as an example, there's stories going around that Nimmo's basically trying to drive the narrative that the Mets should be buyers instead of sellers. Because the fact is, I think of course every player believes that hey, we have a shot to get to the wild card. But reality is like even if they get into the wild card, the real question comes down to is this team as it is right now? Let's say they add a reliever or two. Are they good enough to make a run, a deep run into the playoffs? Because the fact is like let's be honest. I mean, the Mets themselves are not going to be able to win from a perspective of uh, going against these top tier teams like the Philadelphia Phillies, like the Dodgers, like the Dodgers and the even for that matter the Braves. Honestly, because they all have great pitching as well as some serious hitting. And the thing is like with the Mets hitters right now, they can be on and off. I mean, they're streaky. That's pretty much what it comes down to. They are streaky more than anything else. Because I mean, I'll be frank. I mean, honestly, I don't have confidence in the Mets rotation, quite honestly, more than anything else. I mean, if the Mets rotation was really good, then yeah, they should have some buyers. But this Mets rotation is not that great. Severino will have some, good moments here and there. Quintana, same thing as well too. Scott, we saw what happened basically. I mean, he's decent enough, but he's not your starter. He's not your number one starter. And I think there was a case where also it was more of a situation where basically someone mentioned to me at one point Senga is a number one starter. Yes, in the Mets rotation, he's a number one starter. In the Mets rotation, he's a number one starter. But let's be honest, if he's in another rotation on another team, if he's in a rotation on another team, let's say the Phillies, let's say Phillies, Dodgers, hell, even the Yankees for that matter. Is Senga your number one starter? He's not. Is he your number two starter? Maybe on the Yankees, but all the other teams, no, no way. Not even with the Baltimore Orioles. He's more of your number three, number four starter more than anything else. Honestly, he might be your number five starter. But it all depends on like how much of an innings eater he is, because we're basing it off the fact what he did last year, and that was great. But the problem is he's coming back from an injury, so I don't foresee anything going with him as far as getting a lot of wins, or for that matter having a very very low ERA. Um, the other aspect is the hitting themselves. I mean, let's be frank. I mean, honestly, if the hitters were consistent and always constantly scoring 5 runs a game, okay, then I would say yeah, this maybe they can make a dent in the playoffs. Make a dent in the playoffs. They could most likely make the wild cards for sure. They could probably make the wild cards, but the problem is like as we're saying, basically, if you look at their numbers, um, quite honestly, the relief pitching is not there. It's not there at all. It'd be great if it was, but it's not, unfortunately, and that's the sucky part about it. Um, and without the relief pitching, the problem is like put it this way: as a Mets fan, as a Mets fan, are you willing to sacrifice some of your prospects in getting some relievers? Are you willing to do that? And the question is and if you are, then you must have. I don't want to say you're deluded, but or being a little delusional, but it's more so the fact that you're thinking that they're going to make a deep run into the playoffs and they're going to win the pennant. This is a team that's not going to win the pennant. Let's be honest. And everyone's going to point to, well, let's not forget the last year, 2023 and 2022 Phillies, uh, or 2021 Phillies and the 2023 um, um, Diamondbacks. Yeah, that's good and all, but the problem is they won the pennant, but they didn't win the World Series because they lacked. in the World Series. And this is the same team with the Mets. Basically, it's like they have a hitters, but if the opposing team's pitchers are pretty much top notch and they're dead on, these hitters will basically be shut out. You'll see shutouts left and right or low scoring games. And quite honestly, I'll be honest, this Mets defense is not that great. They're prone to errors as well too. Let's be honest, they are prone to errors. And so I don't think this is a team where I'm not confident enough that they can make a deep run into the playoffs. They can make the wild card, yes, they can make the wild card, but can they make a dent in the playoffs themselves? Possible. They could probably win the wild card and advance to the next round. But outside of that, I don't see them making that deep of a run. Even if they were somehow able to do that, my concern is if that happens, the Mets may not do as much the following season, because my concern is like, look what happened with the Diamondbacks. I mean, they made some slight minor adjustments, but look where they're at right now. I think the Mets definitely need essentially a very powerful rotation. And for that, I hate to say this, but if the Mets, I don't, it's not a case where I think the Mets should balk on this, but more so to the point like Alonso is definitely your biggest trading chip. He's definitely your biggest trading chip. You trade him to a team that has tier one top 10 to top 15 pitching prospects, starters. If you get one, maybe two, if that's great if you can get two, but most likely one in an infield will probably be thrown in. If you can get two, that would be great. Because from that aspect, most likely, he'll come back to the Mets. I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to come back to the Mets. If he's a true Met, he'll come back. He'll sign, because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He'll probably most likely resign unless the other team, depending on the team he goes to, they'll offer him something that it's too good for him to refuse. But the reality is, it's like, honestly, if I had a choice between, let's be honest, you as a Mets fan, if I had a choice between Juan Soto, and Pete Alonso, I'm choosing Juan Soto in a heartbeat. I'm taking him in a heartbeat, quite honestly, because as good as Alonso is, this is a guy that's Soto is a man that can change your team. Look what he's done with the Yankees. Look at what everyone's going to say. Oh yeah, it's Judge, and Stanton. But the thing is, Judge and Stanton has been with the team for like 3 or 4 years now. They didn't do much. Soto has made him like practically the best team out there because Soto is that of a difference maker. He's that much of a difference maker. And him coming to the Mets will make him a difference maker as well too. Now you're going to say, yeah, but what about the fact that when he was with the Padres? Yeah, problem is like the Padres, they didn't have all their hitters in place for him. So honestly, if I had a choice between Soto and Alonso, Soto, Lindor together, I think they would do really, really well, and as well as Nimmo too. Which comes up to the point as well too. It's like when it comes to the All-Star selection, I don't know if I would be a fan of, essentially, not a fan of, but more so to the point like I don't know if this is a case where Alonso should be on the All-Star team. Yeah, let him go for the home run derby, but he's not winning the home run derby unless he's juicing. But if I want a Met to go to the All-Star game, I want Nimmo there. Because Nimmo has that capability. Nimmo's gotten hot. He's gotten hot now. And I think more so to the point where, like, I think if you look at the on-base percentage between Nimmo and Alonso, Nimmo's, his OBS is much higher than Alonso. I think also his batting average is much higher too, if I look correctly. Let me take a quick look, actually. Stats. Players, here we go. Alonso's average right now is 240, and on base percentage is 321, whereas Nimmo is 252 and 369. So basically, Nimmo has a better batting average than Alonso, not by much, and also a better on-base percentage, slugging percentage. His WAR is 2.4. Now, of course, yeah, Francisco Alvarez, better batting average, better on base performance as well too. I wouldn't mind seeing him on there honestly because I think he is definitely the future of the Mets. Quite honestly, because I mean, he's the one that's probably going to be the one that's going to lead this Mets team. I think you're going to build around him more than anything else. Having Vientos as the, I mean not Vientos, Alvarez to build around, that would be great. Um, I know. Outside of that, I mean, I'm not sure what to say. Like, everyone's like, let's look at see what happens with the remaining 3 games with the Nationals. I honestly, I don't think it's going to matter much, quite honestly, more than anything else, because let's be up front. I mean, if they were to beat the Nationals, one, two, three, yeah, the next 3 games, if they can sweep them, that'd be great. The fact is like they need to sweep the Nationals and the Rockies. They need to sweep the Nationals and the Rockies, essentially, to be on par in the wild card spot. I would love for them to go on a winning streak. I would love. I mean, my in my head, and unfortunately, this is a thing where like it's always going to be like this. I think the Mets can string up a set of winning streaks, or yeah, a couple winning streaks, like 10-game winning streak, a couple of 10-game winning streaks here and there, and a 20-game winning streak. Um, yeah, this is me being delusional, unfortunately. Like I was talking to other people, like thinking the Mets, making it in the playoffs and making a deep run in the playoffs, being delusional. I'm delusional as well too. I'll admit that I am. I am delusional. I think this is a team where I would love to see them right now as we speak the way they are, but hopefully with their relief core back to being normal, or back to full strength, that they can make a deep. I mean, they can make the playoffs. As I said, if you saw in my earlier videos in the beginning of the year or beginning of the season, actually, I was more of a guy. I was hoping that this is a Mets team that breaks 500, at least finishes above 500, just above 500. I know this is a team that possibly can be under 500 or breaking even at 500, but I'd love to see them to make up just above 500. If they can make above 500 by maybe by 2 games, I consider it a season, a good season at that point. I definitely see it as a good season because it shows that the Mets have the capabilities of staying in the middle of the pack until they get that set of players in place. And like I said, Juan Soto, he's that generational player. I wish the Mets had made him play for Ohtani, but it looks like they were never going to get Ohtani. If they had gotten Ohtani, I think it would have changed a little bit of things. Everyone's possibly says, yeah, but why would you pay him a $700 million person, $700 million DH? Yes, but the thing is like when he comes back into his form of pitching, you're probably going to get 3 or 4 good years out of pitch as a pitcher for him, and he's definitely going to be a number 1 starter. And the other factors is like if you look at the numbers between Ohtani and Babe Ruth, they're pretty much on par with each other. They're like pretty much on the same. Ohtani's on the same trajectory as Babe Ruth, quite honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohtani breaks Barry Bonds' single season home run record, either not this year but next year, depending how it works out. And if he stays healthy enough for the next 10 years, don't be surprised if he breaks not only Babe Ruth's but also Hank Aaron's record. Can he catch Barry Bonds? That's going to be a little tricky actually because quite honestly, Barry Bonds, the longevity of it, but minus you, of course, with the roids and all that stuff, being the fact that he was juiced up. It'll be interesting to see how much Ohtani can catch, at least Hank Aaron for sure. Yeah, outside of that, I mean, yeah, with the Mets, like I said, I mean, if anything, Severino is one of the other people that you can probably get back, a good decent reliever too. Let's see, there's Severino, Quintanas as well too. You probably could get maybe some decent return, maybe an infielder prospect. Honestly, I mean, I hate to say this, but like, hold off on Batty. If Alonso does not, if the Mets were to trade Alonso and they can't re-sign Alonso, then I think shift Batty from third base to first base he's got the defensive prowess. He'll be good enough for the defensively. The offensive side of things, yeah, we'll lose a lot because of it. But the thing is, I think Soto will make up for it at that point. I think because with Soto and Lindor together, I think those two will be a dynamic duo enough that will lead the Mets into, a much farther into a pennant. Put it that way. I think Soto and Lindor together will lead them into a pennant. Yeah, and it would be great if like they had Soto, Lindor, and Alonso. That's definitely for sure then a case where like the Mets make a serious run for the NL East with against the Phillies and Braves at that point. But only time will tell at that point. Anyways, with that, I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts. And put them in the comment section. I do read my comments. I do respond to them when they warrant a response. With that, I'll leave it at that. If you like my video, like my content, like my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And also, one other thing I should note of as well too is, as a Met fan, one of these days, actually not one of these days, I'm definitely going to the Angels games because like they're playing the Angels in August. So I'll definitely go there and I'll try to see if I can live stream it. If I can stream it live, we'll see what happens. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.